Ladies and gentlemen, and more importantly, to the one who is standing at the edge of a decision that could change everything. Before you take him back, watch this. Not with your eyes, with your heart, with your scars. With your scars. With the part of you that still aches when you remember how he made you feel when the lights were off and no one was watching. Before you take him back, ask yourself, has trust returned or just the comfort of the familiar? Because trust once broken doesn't magically repair itself with an "I miss you." It takes more than nostalgia to rebuild something he himself tore down. Remember this, apologies without change are just manipulation in disguise. Anyone can say sorry. Few show it through consistent action. Don't let loneliness trick you into thinking he's the cure. You are not meant to shrink just to fit back into someone else's comfort zone. Your peace, your hard-earned, beautiful, sacred peace, is worth more than his sudden promises of change. Ask yourself, is love enough when respect is missing? Because real love does not confuse, hurt, or belittle you. The right person won't leave you guessing. They'll show up with clarity, not chaos. Maybe he says he's changed, but what has he done with the time apart? Has he grown, or has he just waited for your guard to lower? Time apart should bring growth, not just regret. If he truly saw your worth now, why didn't he protect it then? Forgiveness is powerful. But remember, forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it certainly doesn't mean walking back into a pattern that bruised your spirit. You gave him access to your heart once. Don't hand it over again just because he finally realized its value. You deserve effort, not excuses. Loyalty, not lip service. Consistency, not confusion. And above all, know this, you are not responsible for fixing him. It's not your job to heal the brokenness in someone who shattered you in the process. So before you take him back, take a breath. Look at the full picture. Not just the memories that make you smile, but also the ones that made you cry. You are not hard to love. You just need someone who won't make you beg for the bare minimum. Before you take him back, choose yourself first. Trust is not just a word, it's the invisible thread that holds everything together in a relationship. It's the quiet understanding that you are safe in someone's presence, that your heart is held gently, not carelessly. When that thread snaps, it doesn't just break the bond between two people. It fractures your sense of safety, your ability to believe, and sometimes even your confidence in your own judgment. Rebuilding trust isn't like flipping a switch. It's not restored with a few sweet words, a late-night apology, or a nostalgic text that says, "I've changed." Because those same lips once said, "I'll never hurt you," and then did. That same voice once promised to protect you, and then vanished when you needed it most. When someone betrays your trust, it rewires your nervous system. Suddenly, the things that once felt warm now feel sharp. Their silence feels suspicious. Their compliments feel calculated. Their return doesn't spark relief. It triggers a storm of questions. Why now? What do they really want? Oh, will it happen again? People often talk about second chances like they're easy to give. Like handing back your heart to someone who dropped it is brave. But let's not romanticize it. Trust isn't a light switch you turn back on. It's a structure that takes time, effort, transparency, and accountability to rebuild. Brick by brick, step by step. And even then, it never quite looks the same. Because the truth is, once someone shows you they're capable of lying, of leaving, of letting you down, you'll never unsee it. You can forgive them, yes. You can even love them again. But a part of you will always hold back just a little. You'll hesitate before speaking your truth. You'll second guess what you once gave so freely. That's what breaking trust does. It creates a fracture inside you that you now carry silently, even on the days you pretend everything is fine. So before you take him back, ask yourself, Has he done the work to earn back the trust he broke? Or is he just hoping you forgot the pain he caused? Because if he's asking you to trust him again, he better understand what that really means. That he's not just rebuilding a connection, he's rebuilding you too. Anyone can say, "I'm sorry." Huh? Those two words are easy to speak, especially when someone wants something from you. But an apology without action is not healing. It's strategy. It's not love, it's damage control. It's not accountability, it's a performance. Real change doesn't come with rehearsed lines and emotional texts at midnight. It doesn't come with tears that fall only when they're losing access to you. It comes when someone is genuinely confronted by the hurt they've caused, and then decides to become someone who will never cause it again. But if he says, "I'm sorry," and continues the same behavior, if he begs for forgiveness, only to return to old patterns the moment your guard is down, if he promises change, but only when you're slipping away, that's not growth. That's manipulation. That's someone using your capacity to forgive as a loophole to avoid real accountability. People who are truly sorry don't just regret the consequences. They regret the cause. They don't apologize just to stop you from walking away. They apologize because they finally see the weight you carried in silence. Because they finally understand the damage they inflicted while pretending to love you. You have to watch closely. Because some people don't want to change. They just want to reset the cycle. Apology, reunion, comfort, repeat, repeat. And each time you go back, the apology becomes cheaper. Each time you say it's okay, when it clearly isn't, you teach them that your boundaries are negotiable, that your heart will always be available, even when they've done nothing to deserve it. But love, real love, isn't found in repeated heartbreak and empty words. It's found in transformation, in self-reflection, in effort that exists even when no one is watching. So before you fall for the apology, look deeper. Is he truly sorry, or just sorry he lost access to you? Because if the apology isn't followed by consistent change, it's not a step forward. It's a setup. A way to pull you back into a story where they get to be forgiven without ever earning it. There are moments, quiet, aching moments, when loneliness feels louder than any heartbreak. When the silence in your room feels heavier than his worst apology. When the world seems to move in pairs and you're left wondering if maybe being with him, even if it hurts, is better than being with no one at all. But let's be clear about something. Loneliness is not love's absence. It's the space where self-worth is tested. It whispers lies. What whispers lies? It says, maybe you were asking for too much. It says, at least he came back. It says, you should be grateful someone wants you, even if they don't know how to treat you. And if you're not careful, you'll start believing those lies. You'll convince yourself that the pain you know is safer than the peace you don't. You'll settle, not because he's what you truly deserve, but because you're afraid there's nothing better waiting for you. But listen to me. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Alone is quiet, yes. Alone is sometimes uncomfortable, but alone can also be healing. Alone is where you rediscover who you are when no one is trying to dim your light. It's where you learn to love your own company so deeply. You stop accepting half-hearted love from anyone else. Settling because you're afraid to be alone is like drinking poison just to quench your thirst. It might numb the ache for a moment, but the damage runs deeper every time. You're not weak for missing him, but you must be strong enough not to go back just because you feel empty. Because what you truly crave isn't him, it's connection. It's warmth. It's to be seen, heard, held. But what's the point of being held by someone who once let you fall? What's the point of being in a relationship if you still feel lonely when he's next to you? You see, real love doesn't fill a void. It makes you whole in ways loneliness never could. But it can't reach you if you keep making room for someone who only shows up when they're bored, lonely, or trying to fix their own guilt. Your loneliness is not a flaw, it's a signal. It's telling you where the wounds are. It's asking you to hold yourself just for a little while longer, until the right person comes along who doesn't make you question your worth, your sanity, or your value. So be lonely for now if you must. But don't settle for someone just because they showed up again. Promises sound beautiful, especially when they come wrapped in desperation. He might say, "I swear I've changed." He might say, "Things will be different this time." And maybe for a moment you want to believe it, because hope is easier than hurt. But hope built on empty promises is just another form of self-betrayal. Let's talk about peace. The kind you had to rebuild after he left. The kind that didn't come easily. The quiet mornings where you didn't have to wonder if he was lying. The nights where you slept without checking your phone 100 times. The version of you that began to breathe again after months, maybe years, of walking on eggshells just to keep things good. That peace, it's sacred, because it cost you something to earn. It cost you tears, growth, strength, and sleepless nights filled with questions like, what did I do wrong? You had to learn to calm storms that weren't yours, carry guilt that never belonged to you, and pour from a cup that no one bothered to refill. And now, just when you found a little stillness in your soul, he comes back with promises, words, vows, declarations. But you've heard them before, haven't you? This time, look closer. Ask yourself, are his promises rooted in accountability or convenience? Is he here because he finally saw your value, or because he can't stand to watch you live without him? A man's promises are only as real as his actions. And no matter how sweet his words sound, if being with him costs you your clarity, your mental health, your self-respect, your sleep, your sense of safety, the price is too high. Peace is not just the absence of arguments, it's the presence of alignment. It's the freedom to be yourself without fear of punishment. It's not having to decode mixed signals or recover from emotional roller coasters every week. So ask yourself, is his promise of a change more valuable than the calm you've created without him? Is the future he's suddenly dreaming up worth sacrificing the balance you fought so hard to restore? Because you deserve a life where you can breathe deeply, love fully, and rest easily. Not one where you're constantly waiting for another promise to break. People can say anything. Muchty. They can look you in the eyes and swear they've changed. They can cry, beg, make promises that sound poetic, even spiritual. But no matter how sincere the words sound, it's the pattern that tells the truth. It's the pattern that never lies. If someone hurts you, apologizes, and then hurts you again in the same way, that's not growth. That's a pattern. If they leave when things get hard and come back when they feel lonely, that's not love. That's a cycle. And here's the hard truth. Cycles don't change because someone feels bad. They change when someone is willing to confront their own behavior over and over until the pattern is broken at the root, not just patched at the surface. You've probably seen it by now, the rhythm of how it all goes. The charm, the distance, the mistake, the apology, the brief honeymoon of hope. And then, slowly, quietly, the shift. The same silence, the same withdrawal, the same carelessness dressed in new excuses. It's easy to get caught in that loop, especially when you're holding on to potential, to who he could be, to what it might look like if only. But don't fall in love with his potential. Pay attention to his pattern, because potential is a vision. Patterns are evidence. And in the courtroom of your heart, only one of those should hold any weight. Ask yourself, what has he consistently shown you? Not in words, but in behavior. Does he only show up when you're pulling away? Does he only try when he's scared to lose you? Does he apologize only to repeat the same mistakes when he thinks you're comfortable again? Love isn't measured by grand gestures and moments of panic. It's measured by the choices someone makes when they're not trying to impress you. When the spotlight is off, when no one's watching, when they have the chance to take you for granted and choose not to. So when he comes back with words, pause, don't get swept up in the sound of what he says. Look at the pattern behind it. Look at the history. Look at the rhythm of his actions, and whether they ever led to real lasting change. Effort is love in motion. It's not just what someone says they feel. It's what they consistently do to prove it. When someone values you, they don't give you reasons for why they couldn't show up. Excuses, on the other hand, are easy. They're a way to soften the reality that you weren't a priority. They come dressed in guilt, charm, and just enough half-truths to make you second-guess your own expectations. You've heard them before, haven't you? I was just going through a lot. I didn't know how to communicate. He didn't mean to hurt you. I wasn't ready then. Shaw didn't realize what I had. And maybe part of you believed them because you're the kind of person who tries to understand, who always gives the benefit of the doubt, who holds space for someone else's chaos, even when it cost you your peace. But let me say this plainly. You should not have to explain why basic respect matters. You should not have to teach someone how to value you. You should not be the only one trying to hold a relationship together while he's offering nothing but delays, apologies, and emotional ayu. Effort is when someone chooses to grow, not when they're about to lose you, but when they know you're worth keeping. Effort is when they don't just tell you they care, they show it in ways that require consistency, vulnerability, and maturity. It looks like being on time. It looks like remembering what matters to you. It looks like listening without deflecting, changing behaviors instead of defending them, and being emotionally present, not just physically around. Excuses are a smokescreen. They blur the line between love and neglect. They make you question your standards, lower your boundaries, and cling to the idea that maybe one day he'll finally step up. But ask yourself, why didn't he put in the effort before things fell apart? Why did it take losing you for him to recognize what he should have been giving all along? Real love doesn't hide behind circumstances. It fights through them. It doesn't postpone commitment. It rises to meet it. It doesn't come with a long list of reasons why a now isn't the right time. It comes with the effort to make time right. You deserve someone who chooses you actively, not just reacts when you start walking away. You deserve someone who shows up over and over without needing to be reminded of your value. You deserve consistency, not convenience. Because at the end of the day, if someone wanted to make it work, they would find a way, not give you 100 excuses for why they didn't. Time is powerful. It creates distance. It offers space. It reveals truths that emotions once blurred. But time by itself does not heal anything. What someone does with that time, that's what matters. Anyone can miss you. Anyone can look back and feel regret when they realize they lost something real. But missing you is not the same as changing for you. Regret is not the same as growth. So when he comes back after time apart, saying he's sorry, saying he sees things clearly now, ask yourself, what did he actually do with the time he had? Did he reflect on the pain he caused, or did he just run from the silence until it became unbearable? Did he seek help? Change behaviors? Learn healthier ways to communicate, to love, to be present. Or did he simply come back because the weight of regret became heavier than the work required to grow? There's a difference. Growth means taking accountability, not just saying, I messed up, but going deeper. Why did I act that way? What did I fail to give? How can I become someone who will never do that again? Growth isn't romantic. It's messy. It's uncomfortable. It requires honesty, humility, and a willingness to unlearn toxic patterns that feel familiar. But regret is reactive. It rises when he sees you healing without him, when he realizes you're not answering calls, when he watches you slowly forget the sound of his voice. Regret is what creeps in when the consequence of losing you hits harder than he expected, but that doesn't mean he's changed. Because here's the hard truth. Feeling bad isn't the same as becoming better. And you're not obligated to accept someone back into your life just because they finally noticed your absence. Time apart is meant to teach, to reveal what wasn't working, to show someone the impact of their choices, not to serve as a pause button for them to press play again when they're lonely. So look closely. Is he returning with depth, with evidence of real change, with a newfound understanding of how to love you better? Or is he just hoping that time has softened your memory of the pain? Because regret without growth is just nostalgia. It wants the comfort of the past without doing the work for a better future. And you didn't survive the heartbreak just to end up back where you started. Forgiveness is a choice, a difficult one. It's not weakness. It's not surrender. It's a quiet strength that says, I refuse to let what you did define me any longer. But let's be clear, forgiving someone does not mean pretending it didn't happen. Forgiveness is about release, not amnesia. It's about letting go of the anger, not the lesson. It's about moving forward without dragging the weight of resentment behind you, but not without remembering why you picked up that weight in the first place. People often pressure you to forgive and forget, as if forgetting is some kind of noble act, as if your ability to erase the damage done proves how healed you are. But forgetting means ignoring the red flags. Forgetting means you risk walking right back into the same fire that once burned you. And healing is not about putting yourself in danger again. You can forgive someone and still hold them accountable. You can forgive and still say, that was not okay. You can forgive and still choose not to go back. Because forgiveness is about you. It's for your heart, your peace, your sanity. But forgetting, that's for his comfort. That's what he hopes you'll do so he doesn't have to face the full reality of what he put you through. He may say, I thought you forgave me, the moment you bring up the past. But remember this, bringing up what hurt you isn't bitterness, it's memory. It's wisdom. It's your spirit protecting itself from another round of betrayal. You are not petty for remembering. You are not unforgiving for being cautious. You are not stuck in the past just because you haven't erased what happened. Because some things are not meant to be forgotten. They are meant to be learned from. They are meant to shape your boundaries, strengthen your intuition, and remind you of your worth. You forgave him so you could breathe again, so your healing wasn't chained to his guilt. But that doesn't mean you owe him a clean slate, especially when he hasn't done the work to deserve one. Forgiveness clears the path, but it doesn't rewrite the map. Love is beautiful, yes, but love alone is not a foundation. It is not a bandage for wounds that go unhealed. It is not a substitute for respect, and it never should be. We grow up on stories that glorify love above everything else. Love conquers all. Love forgives all. Love is all you need. But that's not the full story. Because love without respect is a dangerous illusion. It convinces you to stay when you're being dismissed. It makes you excuse the yelling, the silence, the sarcasm, the manipulation, because at least he loves me. But love that degrades you, that controls you, that makes you question your own worth, isn't love in its truest form. Let's get honest. Respect is the quiet backbone of every healthy relationship. It's not loud. It doesn't beg to be noticed. But you feel it in the way someone listens to you, even when they disagree. You feel it in the way they handle your emotions, with care, not contempt. You feel it when you're allowed to speak, cry, question, and express yourself without fear of being called too much. You can love someone deeply, but if they don't respect your voice, your body, your space, your boundaries, what are you holding on to? Love without respect will leave you always reaching for validation. It will have you constantly trying to prove yourself. It will drain you while you convince yourself, at least he loves me, while you silently wonder, but why does it still hurt? Respect means you're seen as an equal, not an object. It means your thoughts matter, not just when they align with his. It means you are not someone to be handled. You are someone to be honored. Ask yourself, does he speak to you like a partner or like a problem? Us. Does he support your growth, or does he feel threatened by it? Does he hear you when you express pain, or does he flip the blame? Turn it into a lecture, or act like you're always overreacting. Because love can exist in a relationship where one person is constantly disrespected, but that love is distorted. It's imbalanced. It's love dressed in fear, control, and ego. So no, love isn't always enough. Not if it makes you feel small. Not if it leaves you apologizing for having needs. Not if you have to beg to be treated with basic dignity. Respect is what gives love its shape. Without it, love becomes chaotic, selfish, sometimes even cruel. You deserve both, not one or the other. Love that lifts you, and respect that never lets you forget your value. You've probably felt it before, that unsettling feeling in your chest, when a message is left unread for hours, when plans are vague, when affection feels inconsistent. When you find yourself analyzing every word, every silence, every shift in mood, trying to decode what he's thinking, what he's feeling, what he really wants. That kind of love, it's not love, it's anxiety, and it's not sustainable. Because the right person won't play emotional hide and seek with your heart. They won't treat your feelings like a puzzle you have to solve. They won't let you wonder where you stand. They'll make sure you know. There's a difference between mystery and confusion. Mystery can be romantic. Confusion is painful. And if you're constantly guessing if you're enough, guessing if they're still in this with you, guessing if today will be cold or warm, you're not in a relationship. You're in an emotional gamble. The right person doesn't make love feel like a test you're always on the verge of failing. Then don't reward your silence and punish your honesty. They don't keep you hooked with breadcrumbs of affection, just enough to keep you hoping, but never enough to feel secure. They're clear. They're clear. Not because they're perfect, but because they care. Because they want to build something real with you. Because they don't want you to go to bed wondering if you're too much, too sensitive, or too difficult to love. The right person communicates, not only when things are good. They communicate even in the hard moments. Especially in the hard moments. They don't disappear to avoid uncomfortable conversations. They don't go silent to punish you. They show up. They talk. They reassure. And reassurance doesn't mean grand speeches or poetic texts. It's in the little things, like checking in, being consistent, following through on their word. It's in knowing that when they say, "I care," their actions echo the same truth. You shouldn't have to beg for clarity. You shouldn't have to shrink yourself so he feels bigger. You shouldn't be sitting with your phone, rereading messages like clues, trying to solve the mystery of does he still love me? Because when it's right, you won't have to guess. You'll feel it in the way they speak to you, in the way they choose you every single day, in the way they handle your heart like something precious, not something convenient. Love isn't meant to be a maze, and the right person won't put you in one just to keep control. They'll walk beside you, in the open, no hidden doors, no mixed signals, just truth, presence, and consistency. When something hurts, the natural instinct is to reach for comfort, to find something familiar, to return to what once felt like home, even if that home had cracks in the walls and storms in every room. It's tempting, isn't it? To believe that maybe, if you just go back, things will feel whole again. That the pain will stop if you're in his arms. That maybe the love you shared still has the power to fix what broke. But here's the truth most people avoid saying out loud. You can't heal in the same place that hurt you. You can't keep reopening a wound and expect it to close just because the person who caused it says they're sorry. Healing requires distance. It requires time. It requires truth, especially the kind that hurts to admit, like, he wasn't good for me. He knew he was hurting me and kept doing it. Way kept hoping he would change, and he didn't. Old wounds are comfortable, yes, but only because you've been sitting in them so long. That doesn't mean they're safe. That doesn't mean they're good. There is no amount of going back and erase the things you had to unlearn just to breathe again. No reunion that can undo the nights you cried in silence. No second chance that can rebuild trust without a complete rebuild of the person who broke it. Some people will convince you that healing means a moving on from the past. But healing is not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about honoring yourself enough to not return to the source of your pain. You cannot keep standing at the edge of the same fire, expecting it not to burn you this time. You cannot keep walking through the same door, hoping the room has changed when the foundation is still cracked. True healing is found in new choices, new standards, new boundaries. It's found in the uncomfortable space where you learn to sit with your pain instead of distracting yourself with recycled love. Healing doesn't come from hearing "I miss you." It doesn't come from replaying memories of when things were good. It comes from choosing yourself even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when the temptation to go back is whispering that maybe, just maybe, this time will be different. Because old wounds don't heal when you keep touching them. They heal when you stop giving them fresh reasons to bleed. Loyalty is sacred. It's not just about staying, it's about staying for the right reasons. It's about standing beside someone who stands beside you. But somewhere along the way, you were probably taught that loyalty means never giving up, never walking away. Always choosing them, even when they stop choosing you. But let's be honest, loyalty without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. And when you give it blindly, without question, without reciprocity, you're not being loyal to love. You're being loyal to pain. You can love someone deeply and still acknowledge that they haven't earned your devotion. You can miss someone terribly and still recognize that what they gave you wasn't consistent, wasn't honest, wasn't worthy of the way you showed up for them. Ask yourself, what did your loyalty cost you? Your sleep? Your self-esteem? Your sense of safety? Your ability to trust your own voice? Because loyalty isn't supposed to drain you. It's supposed to feel mutual, rooted in respect, nourished by truth, sustained by action. But when loyalty becomes one-sided, when you're the only one fighting, forgiving, reaching, bending, it turns into a leash he holds, tugging only when he feels you pulling away. And sometimes we confuse endurance with love. We think, if I can just hold on long enough, he'll see my worth. But your worth isn't proven by how much you tolerate. It's proven by how much you value yourself enough to stop giving loyalty to someone who keeps breaking what you protect. He might say, you gave up on me. But what he really means is, you stopped letting me get away with it. Because people who expect blind loyalty are often the ones who know they haven't done the work to deserve it. Loyalty is not about how long you stay. It's about how well you're treated while you're there. It's not about being there through everything if everything includes neglect, manipulation, emotional distance, or disrespect. So no, loyalty should never be blind. It should be informed, intentional. Given to those who show, not just say that they are willing to protect your heart with the same tenderness you gave theirs. Loyalty is powerful, but only when its mutual apologies can be beautiful. They can feel like medicine to an aching heart, especially when you've been craving acknowledgement for the pain you've carried alone. Hearing "I'm sorry" after days, weeks, or even months of silence can feel like rain after a long drought. But before you drink it in, pause, because words are easy. Actions are evidence. Anyone can say they're sorry, but saying sorry doesn't fix the late-night crying. It doesn't erase the hours you spent doubting yourself, wondering what you did wrong, trying to carry the weight of a relationship that was never equally held. Apologies can soothe your ears, but actions are what will heal your heart. And if his behavior hasn't changed, if the patterns are still familiar, if the effort still feels one-sided, then the apology is just noise. You don't need another empty promise. You need consistency. You need to see growth that doesn't only show up when he's losing you. Because it's easy to be sorry when faced with consequences. It's easy to feel regret when the silence grows louder than your voice in his life. But remorse alone isn't enough. Real accountability comes through follow-through. Through day-by-day choices that reflect not just regret, but transformation. Ask yourself, did he take ownership, or just offer a carefully worded apology to reset the cycle? Did he ask how he hurt you, or did he just say, "I'm sorry," and expect that to be enough? Has he made space for your pain, or is he rushing you to forget it so things can go back to what's easy for him? Don't confuse a performance with progress. Sometimes an apology is just a tactic used to soften you, reset your boundaries, and open the door he never planned to treat with care. True remorse is not afraid of discomfort. It doesn't run when conversations get hard. It doesn't get defensive when you express how deeply you were affected. It listens. It adapts. It changes. So watch what he does after he says sorry. Watch what he does when no one is watching. When he's not trying to win you back, but just trying to be better. Because it's the right thing to do. Because anyone can say, "I won't hurt you again." But only changed behavior proves that they mean it. Read that again, slowly this time. You are not responsible for fixing him. Not his past, not his pain, not the broken pieces he refuses to face, not the wounds he carries but won't admit are bleeding onto you. It is not your job to be his therapist, his savior, his emotional punching bag, or his second chance at becoming a better man. Yes, you saw his potential. Yes, you saw the good in him, probably long before he ever did. You believed in his growth. You stayed when he pushed you away. You held his pain when he couldn't hold your hand. You gave him chances, softness, time, and understanding, even when you were the one hurting. But still, he didn't change. And now you're exhausted. Because carrying someone else's healing on your back is heavy. Especially when they won't even meet you halfway. Especially when they take your kindness as an invitation to keep breaking promises and expect you to keep patching the damage. But you are not a project. And you are not meant to be a rehab center for men who refuse to face their own demons. If he won't do the work to grow, that's not your failure. That's his choice. Love can be compassionate. Love can be patient. But love is not meant to be self-destructive. You were not created to be his emotional crutch while he limps through life, never choosing to stand up on his own. Healing is personal. It's messy. It's painful. And most of all, Terry, no matter how much you care, how deeply you try, how many times you forgive, you cannot heal someone who refuses to take responsibility for themselves. You are allowed to step back. You are allowed to say, "I love you, but I will not destroy myself trying to save you." You are allowed to walk away, not because you gave up, but because you finally realized you shouldn't have been the one carrying it all in the first place. He had the choice to do better. He had the chance to rise, to change, to protect what you were building. He didn't. That's not on you. You were never meant to fix him. You were meant to be loved by someone who didn't need to be rescued to treat you right. So before you take him back, pause. Not out of fear, not out of anger, but out of love. Love for the version of you that stayed too long. Love for the version of you that cried quietly so no one would hear. Love for the version of you that's finally starting to breathe again. You've carried the relationship. You've held the hope. You've believed the best in him even when he gave you reasons not to. But now you get to believe in yourself. You don't owe anyone your peace, your healing, or your forgiveness on demand. You don't have to go back just because he finally noticed your absence. You don't have to say yes just because he's suddenly ready. You get to choose what's best for you. You get to say, I've changed too. And this time, I choose me. Let him miss you. Let him grow without you. Let him learn, like you did, that love without care is not love at all. Because the truth is, the real comeback isn't taking him back. It's becoming someone who no longer accepts anything less than they deserve.